Welcome back to Between Two Cars. Your host Kyle Orr and Matt Maxwell, and we are going to continue our Catholic and Cars edition of this podcast during the Lenten season.
Yeah, happy Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Love it. Learning a lot about faith in Ash Wednesday, right? Or a lot about self-control.
That's correct.
So it's what it's all about.
You remember that?
Huh?
Remember that. On day 26.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I think if you, for me, obviously the ultimate sacrifice, I don't think anybody would ever compare to what Christ did on the cross. But, for if you set your mind to something, I like the practice of Lent. I know a lot of people that do it that are outside the Catholic faith. But I think it makes you recognize how much power you have over your mind if you're a spirited person with self-control, and sometimes you're tempted to do things or you just kind of walk through life normally. But for these 40 days, people really pay attention to what they're doing, on an everyday basis, how they're treating people. I mean, it's kind of cool. Everybody's got a smile on their face, like what we went to today, and
that was just
just the mass,
special place,
and then the luncheon afterwards. So that was pretty unique and cool, and just all in good fun. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Okay, so let's get started on something here. So we had some questions that have been generated for us. So we thought we'd kind of go through and we'll just pick a few, and then so I'll ask Kyle a few here. So let's see here. What would be a good one for Kyle? Let's see here. How about this, Kyle? All right. Have you ever faced a moral dilemma while selling a car, and how did your faith guide your decision?
Yeah, I mean, I believe moral dilemma always comes up in car sales. You're getting hit with a lot of unique personalities on a daily basis. You get hit with a lot of different scenarios. Whether a customer, when's it right to fix a car for a customer, when's it wrong? What makes business sense, what doesn't make business sense, and I think stopping and praying about it and really taking that in and allowing God to give you those answers on doing what's right versus what you feel is needed at that time. Mm-hmm. That answer always comes up, and He guides you in the right way. Mm-hmm. And somehow or some way, even when you're struggling through the day of making those choices, if you look to Him, you'll end up making the right one that you feel good about, and the one that He's told you about. Mm-hmm.
So give an example of something like that's happened.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I've got one off the top of my head, but I would think, customer, big thing is when customers are buying used cars, right? If you know something's wrong with the car, a lot of salespeople run away from saying, "Hey, we've got this car out here for $10,999," and they're advertising it as if it's a perfect car when there's some things that need to be fixed on it, and you're better off just telling the customer exactly what's wrong with the car and why you have it priced where it's priced, versus trying to beat around the bush, and then a week later they find out, oh, well, it's got this problem and you knew about it, right? Mm-hmm. And then it starts it escalates a whole new set of problems for you, because not only is your integrity damaged at that point, you've got an upset customer that's out there, and your reputation starts to get affected by that, and you'll carry that weight on your shoulders and it could screw up your whole day, week, or month, depending on how long that problem drags out. Right?
Yeah, I think I think a lot of it is we've got a bad, car dealers kind of have a bad name, right? In the beginning, right? So when customers come in, their guard's up. And so we've got to go out there and get that guard down a little bit so we can help them, because they sometimes don't think that we're here to help them. They think we're here to just make we make all this money in all these cars and do all that stuff. And those days are gone. I mean, it's about customer service. And if you treat people like you want to be treated, which is one of the what? I mean, that's just kind of one of the things,
10 Commandments.
yeah, that you're supposed to do. Everything,
Take care
you'll
of
be
your
fine.
neighbor.
So just sit there and, so and you get that all the time. It's very hard when someone comes in and they just start yelling at you, right, for no apparent reason, cussing at you, yelling at you, all these crazy things. I mean, we had one of these guys do this the other day, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Stop acting like a 2-year-old. I mean, let's talk and find out what's going on. And they don't calm down, and they just fly off the handle, and they just keep, and it's simple, and it's just a simple fix. And
We always have to wonder what's going on in somebody's life to make them that angry over. I mean, if
he
you
could have
really,
had a bad day. He could have had a bad day where 10 things happened, and we just happened to be the one that he blew up on. I mean, that could have been the issue. But the problem is what, if people would just slow down, take a deep breath, and just be honest about things, people will be honest back. I mean, they'll treat you how you want to be treated, right? It's just like going on right now. You
the
saw
golden rule.
Well, you saw the Democratic deal. This deal last night, right? I mean,
The address to Congress.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Just everybody sit down and let's listen to what the president has to say. You may not agree with his policies. Fine, well, that's okay. But to sit there and start calling everybody names, calling them this, making up stories, and that's what happens in the car business a lot. Is that you get they walk in here and they've been treated bad by somebody else. Well, we didn't treat them bad, right? So why are they yelling at us or treating us that way? So I think we've got to take a deep breath, because it's you got to sit back and say, okay, hey,
Every obstacle has two ways of going about it, working around it,
Sure.
right? And you can either work against it, which is what we saw last night, right? Or you can accept it for what it is for a short period of time. It doesn't last forever, right? And you figure out how to work around it or with it, and still get your job done. And that's with anything in politics or anything in life, really. I mean, if it's not going to kill you, there's a way out of it. There's a way around it. So,
there might be a way around it if it's going to kill you.
yeah. Yep, I agree. Let me see here. Can you think of a Bible story or a teaching that you've applied your work in the car business?
A Bible story, teaching.
That you've applied to your work in the car business.
Matthew 4:19.
Okay.
Well, you know what that verse says?
I do not.
Follow me.
Okay.
So if you, I mean, that's a paraphrase. I mean, it's longer than that. But if you would if everybody would just get up and say, okay, hey, you know what? Just follow me. Follow Christ and follow His teachings and live life that way. Businesses, your life would be a lot simpler, and things would go over better. And that's what we've been doing. We're treating people when they come in here like a guest in our home. And that's what our faith. I mean, that's what you would do. That's what Christ would do, right? If you came into His house and He's out there and He's in His sandals and
You build a relationship.
yeah, that's exactly what He's doing. Come, let's go. Here you go. Can I get you a cup of water? Can I help you out here? Here, let me walk you through this car. This is all the things we've done to you. That's what He would do. It's same thing. So, yeah, I think it's. I would go with Matthew 4:19. Chapter 4, verse 19.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of verses that feed into that.
Well, that's one of my favorite ones. I think, and the reason why is, if I remember right, the story goes, they were fishermen, right? It was Paul. I mean, it was Peter and I forgot who was with him, but they were just getting back. They didn't believe this. They went out there and they didn't. They weren't believing with what Jesus was saying. And he hops in the boat. They go out there and they're fishing and Peter's like, we can't catch anything. He goes, throw your nets out. And he's like, oh, you can't catch anything. We've been doing this all day. Hey, would you just throw your, Jesus like, just throw your nets out. Would you do that? Would you just trust me? Right? Throws his nets out, and all of a sudden, what happens? They have the biggest catch that they've ever had, right? And then all of a sudden they believe and they say, okay, hey, and he goes, just, after that, he gets done. He goes, just follow me, because Peter's like, well, what are we going to do next? He goes, well, you're going to follow me. Just follow me. So, yeah, I think that one that's a good one. Now, the next one for you, big boy. All right. What's the most rewarding part of selling cars, and how do you see it connecting to living out your faith?
Oh gosh, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
I mean, we set up a whole business plan around, that. I mean, the auto parlor exists on core values, and faith plays a big role in that. So, I mean, it was written to do that. But I think the biggest reward for me and probably everybody that works here is being able to give back to one another, being able to support those groups. We're Catholic, so being able to support the Catholic Church in various ways, and probably our biggest project is working with Lifehouse to get second chances for some women that well deserve it. And
we haven't had a chance to really do our projects yet, but we're working on it. But we're raising money. We're helping raise money for them, which is important.
Right. And it's been, I mean, since day one, we've probably been working on that project. So it's getting very near the point of where that thing can be put into motion, and it'll be a great thing. I mean, there's not a human being with a heart that doesn't feel good when they help somebody else out. And to me, that's more than any dollar figure you can put on life.
Well, what we listen? What happened today in today's gospel? What did we hear in today's gospel?
Well, I mean, today's gospel was basically you do things from the heart, you do it in silent, and you do it.
And you don't do it for praise.
You don't do it for praise. You do the things. When you're going into the Lent season, it's very typical that people like to, kind of put out there what their sacrifice for Lent is. That's okay to talk about that, but probably advertising it from a point of getting attention goes completely against.
Well, I think when you're doing Christ's work, trying to get attention, hey, look at me, is against everything to begin with anyway.
Sure.
So that's not just Lent, but I think it's a lot of people do, that's why it's kind of strange for me when I see, I'm a cradle Catholic, right? So I've been Catholic since I was born. When I see these big, huge, Catholic churches aren't that big.
Mega churches. Well, the basilicas are.
Well, but that's for a reason, right? There's a different reason for that. But typically, you're it's a place of worship and it's holy. You go to a holy mass there, right? And,
cool. Yeah.
And
I'd be quite comfortable in the size that we were in today.
Yeah. So it's when I go into. But when you go into like the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, right? That's of course that's history. I mean, I don't even know what they call that. I mean, you got all the paintings and stuff like that. I mean, that's world history, right? That's just.
I did set a new goal for me though for next year, at the beginning of Lent.
You're not even through the world. You're not even through this one.
No, but I really would like to go to.
I mean, it's day one.
I would like to start Lent. I understand that, but I'd like to start Lent going to the St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. I think that would be cool.
You want to go to Ash Wednesday Mass there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be a neat deal, especially, because March for the most part is, you celebrate St. Patrick's Day in the middle of March. Lent starts at the beginning of March. And then to be in that, I just can't imagine what it's like right now there. Just that atmosphere around that cathedral or basilica or cathedral at the moment. I just have to imagine that it's probably,
Well, it's very reverend.
yeah.
I mean, you got Cardinal Dolan's probably doing the mass today. I don't know how it's if you want to see something if you go there on Easter Sunday, that would be a probably a pretty neat one too. But and I'm not sure which. There's a bunch of neat churches like that. There's one up in St. Louis. There's one in Chicago. It's not quite as big as that one, I don't think, but it's that's a cool one. That's one of my goals to get to that too.
Where's that?
The one in New York.
Oh, yeah.
But there's some other churches. Yeah, that's not the first church in the United States either. So I would have liked to go see the first Catholic church. The first one that was built in the United States.
Where's that one at?
I think it's up. It's I want to say it's in. I don't know.
It's not Notre Dame.
No. I want to say it's up. It's up like in West Virginia or something like that. I can't remember where it is. Virginia, something like that. But I'll find out. I'll find that out. I was talking about that to somebody the other day. So, but it's but yeah, that would be a neat goal. But we'll get through this one first. We're a little bit smaller goal this one, right? This time, this Lent.
Well, yeah, you got to get through the first one and actually recognize. Well, I mean, one, I'm not even fully Catholic yet,
right?
So that's why I said next year I'd like to do that, because it would make more sense when you've gone through everything and you've been confirmed and everything. So, but even before I was even thought about going, that's a place that I would have liked to visit. The only thing that kept me there or kept me away from going and doing something like that is I can't think of anything else in New York that I really want to go do other than see that.
Right.
Not really my
cup of tea.
Population up there.
Right.
The first Catholic church was in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, so I knew it was.
Oh, so we can do that.
Yeah, I don't even know what's that church. What's the name of the church?
Ballistica of the Assumption.
Okay.
Basilica of the Assumption.
Ballistica, like ballistic missiles.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. We're gonna. Hey, come to church up here in Maryland. We shoot missiles ballistically from the Assumption.
That's kind of a cool name or a cool.
Yeah,
reflection.
I'd like to. I haven't seen that. That one would be neat. There's some neat things I'd like to go see. I'd like to go visit some places around in the United States where we had some Catholic saints, in the United States.
And I'm not a huge art guy, but for some reason, religious art has always caught my eye, and that's what I like about those basilicas and stuff, that they have all those, rememberable or remarkable.
Okay. I saw you do a double take in church today. You like doing this to see if anybody was looking on that painting of Mary.
Yeah. No, I noticed this. So at Catholic churches, like where we were today, one of the sculptures that's there was donated or had the name of somebody out of O'Fallon, Missouri, up by St. Louis.
Right.
And
well, that's okay. So that order, if I remember correctly, the nuns that had that, their orders from St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I don't know. We'll have to. Now, there's a relic in there too from one of the saints, and I should have asked for that today to look at it, and I had forgotten. So when we go back in there, we'll have to see that. But there's a relic of I think it's Saint Teresa.
And I notice, you notice that That happens quite a bit though. Like if you go around to these Catholic churches, there seems to always be something that's from somewhere, somewhere.
Well, they get something donated, or that was an abbey, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it that or not, but they had, the nuns there, which we heard the story today a little bit. We've heard it before, but they didn't come out and see the people. They were behind the doors and stuff. But yeah, that's a holy place right there. That's a very, very holy place. There's a lot of those out. There's a lot of those out there in the world. So yeah,
and it's probably the size of this room, really,
it's
where we were.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. The cathedral. I mean, the chapel.
Chapel was, yeah.
So
probably a little bit longer, but
yeah, it's probably as old.
Yeah. I if they ever did a Christmas Eve mass there, I'd totally go.
Well, they probably don't have a priest. I mean, we got a shortage of priests, so there's probably not enough to do that.
I think that'd be one of the most surreal places you could go to do that.
Yeah.
So let's see, we'll get one from this other page here.
I can't see you because of lights. I'm like blinded
I noticed.
by the light.
And we both have glasses, so they glare off.
Yeah,
of it.
I'm just like.
So, have you ever had a moment where selling cars felt like an act of service or ministry?
We're doing that now.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now. I mean, our whole. So yes, the answer to that is yes. It has brought our faith tenfold back, tenfold. We are the people that we're meeting, the more involved with getting with the different parishes, the people we're helping, the conversations we're having between everybody at work and
this is a good
stuff.
one.
So,
we
yeah.
got to read this one. If Jesus were buying a car today, what kind do you think he'd pick, and how would you pitch it to him?
I'd you know what I would sell him?
Tesla?
No, a new pair of sandals. I said, you keep on walking, sir. We're going to follow you. 100%. I don't think he'd buy a car.
I mean, the only thing he's really rode is a donkey.
Well, and he rode that into Jerusalem, right?
And that didn't turn out well.
Well, it did.
For us.
Right. But I think he'd walk. I don't think he'd buy. I think someone asked us that before. I said, no, I'd buy him some sandals. Let's get old Elon Musk.
How would you pitch him? That's the second part of that question. If Jesus were buying a car today, what kind do you think he'd pick, and how would you pitch him? I think there's a joke that goes around here. The answer would be the Accord because it came on his own accord. But I don't know how I would be stumped on how you would pitch Christ a car.
I wouldn't sell him a car. I'm telling you that. I'd get him sandals. I said, sir, here's some nice sandals for you. They're handmade with love and care. I said, by the way, we're gonna walk in those sandals with you.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Father.
That's a tough one, man.
He wouldn't buy a car, I'm telling you. He would not buy a car.
He would if your pitch was good.
He's very humbled. I don't think he'd buy a car. Did you ever see him walk around trying to sell his? You ever talk about how all the tables and chairs or whatever he made when he was a carpenter?
Well, I don't know. They've zeroed in on that whole deal as far as if he actually sold them.
Well, he didn't.
Right?
That's my point.
Well, Joseph might have. They made them together. Joseph was a carpenter. I mean, that's a career. Mm-hmm. He had to get some kind of money. Mm-hmm. So, but it's not. It's. I mean, how are you gonna?
Here's the reason.
How you gonna sell Jesus?
Here's the reason, right? Because everybody else would be tempted to say, "Hey, Jesus, listen. I know you can turn water into wine. What are you saying? What are you saying? Can you do this for me? I'll get you a nice deal in a car.
Get something going on here.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
I would think
He's very humbled.
you probably just give him a car.
I don't
Here,
think
take
I don't think he. I think he's extremely humbled. He wouldn't drive a car. I just don't think he would do that. I think because he wants to. He
What if it meant that he could get to more places? And
it's Jesus.
I'm just saying, what if
We
it
just
meant
read a
that?
story about Padre Pio, right?
Yeah.
Right, and he was sitting here in World War II when they were going over there to bomb this deal, and he's up there. Okay, that's Padre Pio.
Right.
I mean,
I'm just saying. Maybe he wants to ride in something comfortable.
I don't know where you're going with this, but he's not buying a car. I'm just going to tell you, he's not going to be buying a car. One, if he bought a car, okay, because he's not the type of guy that's going to say, "Hey, I'm going to buy American over Japanese or this brand over that." That's why he walk.
So just hypothetically,
Son, they're all my children.
hypothetically, what would you pick? What do you?
I
think?
told you I would literally go out there and say, "Hey, I handmade these sandals with love. I'd like, I would want to walk in your footsteps. Would you wear these?"
Oh my gosh.
That's what I would do. He's not buying a car.
I think he would. Enjoy a little bit of your creation. I mean, man made that. He made man. God made man, and man makes a car to enjoy some of the fruits of.
Well, why didn't he walk around or ride in a wagon back in the day? They had wagons. They had carts because he's humbled. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. He's gonna walk amongst his people. He wants to be able to evangelize it.
He could drive, and the people could walk around.
Yeah, but they
him.
won't. I mean, they won't. So if he's walking and they want to come to him and follow him, he's going to be able to. He's going to be able to bring more people to him. Driving a car Mach 90 or whatever he's doing, that's not gonna. You can't. I mean, that's not what he's going to do. He's going to sit there and walk and, hey, that's Jesus. He wants to be seen. You're kind of hidden in a car.
Well, or he could get in one of our convertibles out here.
What's wrong with you? Have his hair waving in the back with sunglasses on.
It definitely, if he were to buy a car, it would be a very modest car.
He's not buying a car. I don't know what I have to do to tell you that. That'll never happen.
We're gonna have to wrap it up.
The car or the
No. This session of our podcast will have to wrap up here.
We just got started.
We did, and I think by the next time
I'm gonna do some research on that.
By next episode, I'm gonna have Maxwell convinced that there is a car for Jesus.
There's not.
So I'm gonna take time and pray about this, and hopefully the answer will come. But I'm going to convince him that there is. And if I can pitch him, then I can probably pitch Jesus.
I think we just got to get you through Lent first, okay?
I'll be fine.
All right. See ya.